Okay, go ahead.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Let's start the July council meeting. Roll call, please.
Vianney?
Here.
Passanello?
Present.
Pater? Here. Larson?
Here.
Schneider?
Here.
Ramirez? Here. Gallagher?
Okay, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. We have Troop 9525 here. If they could lead the pledge for us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Yeah, very quick. The invocation, we have Brian Johnson from Haymarket Church here. Welcome.
Thank you all for having me. If we're doing invocation and giving thanks, so I think we should all give thanks that on a day when the AC may not be working well, it's a little cooler than it was last week. We're not having this meeting then. Let's pray. May this be a space of listening. May this be a space where we are slow to speak, quick to listen, slow to get angry, quick to forgive. God, who spoke through the prophets, speak and enable us to hear voices yearning for justice. May we be more interested in doing what is right than in getting our own way. May we be a community of care for all. May this be a space where trust is kept. And may we be people who seek the common good. Blessed are you, Lord God, sovereign of the universe, who calls us to justice and mercy and forgiveness and love. Amen.
Thank you. Now we're up to citizens' time. Anybody in the audience have any comments they would like to make? Any emails? Okay, so we'll move on then. We have next on the list, recognition for Officer Joe Coppage.
Yes, Mayor and Council, can I have Officer Coppage come up and stand? We're also going to take a photo op, so be ready. But if you'll come up and stand here, please. Wherever you'd like.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Camera shot.
So in the absence of Chief tonight, since he's not sitting here in person, I wanted to read these aloud, but Chief is with us on Zoom, so he can add some additional words. So I'm going to read it as Chief wrote. So we have a letter of commendation for Joe. Joe, I want to commend you on a job well done on June 11th of 2024. As you prepared to leave after your shift, Officer Watson received a call for a service at Sheetz regarding a suicidal subject. Knowing the call was of high complexity and could become volatile, you decided to respond with Officer Watson instead of going home. Furthermore, upon arriving at the scene, you took on the primary role when it was not your responsibility. community. At that point, you calmed an individual down who was in severe mental crisis, intoxicated, and had already injured himself. Due to your professionalism and taking the time to de-escalate the situation, no force was needed, and the subject voluntarily accompanied you to UVA Health for evaluation, where he received the assistance he needed. On behalf of the council, the town manager, and the entire department, I congratulate you on your dedication and commitment to our community. Thank you. Sincerely, Alan Seibert, Chief of Police, sorry. And then I would also like to call up Officer Matt Watson as well. This is also from Chief. Matt, I want to commend you for a job well done on June 11th of 2024. At the beginning of your shift, you received a call for your service at Sheets regarding a suicidal subject. Both you and Officer Coppage responded to assist. Upon arriving at Sheets, Officer Coppage took on the primary role with you in support. You were both able to calm the individual down who was in severe mental crisis, intoxicated, and had already injured himself. Due to your professionalism in taking the time to de-escalate the situation, no force was needed, and the subject voluntarily accompanied you both to UVA for evaluation, where he received the assistance he needed. On behalf of the council, the town manager, and the entire department, I congratulate you on the dedication and commitment to our community. Thank you. Sincerely, Alan Seibert. So thank you both for a very well-done job. Chief, I don't know if you can hear us, if you wanted to add in any additional words.
No, I can hear you, and I'm sorry. I apologize to Officer Watson and Coppage that I'm not there this evening, but I do thank you both for the job that you do every day that you're out there, and on this job as well. Exceptional performance. All too often, this type of call has been a weekly occurrence, if not sometimes a daily occurrence type like this, and definitely appreciate the time and effort that both officers put into it to get the individual the help that he needed. And to have it de-escalate to the point to where the person would voluntarily go. So thank you both, and I greatly appreciate everything you do, you both do for our community.
Thank you, guys. And if we could take a photo with council. Council, if you guys will come around, we'll have them in the center, please. Chief, we'll go ahead and send you the photos if you wanted to do a post.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to, no, we do we'll do a minute approval. Could we?
Before we do the motion, who wants to pull the report?
There you go. Could we pull administration or treasurer report and finance liaison report, please? Treasurer.
And
Treasury, finance,
may we also pull the town admin report, please?
administrative.
Thank you.
And the
Mr. Mayor.
I cut Marshawn off. Did you want to do the motion, Marshawn?
Nope.
Feel free.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I move the Haymarket Town Council approve or adopt consent agenda items A 1 through 3, B 3 through 5, C 2 through 5.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to the town administration report then.
Can I start?
You can start.
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize for missing our work session where I believe you went over the GoGov app. I did take the liberty in downloading it, and I wanted to provide feedback that there was no direct way through the app to contact town staff. The only way that I could manage to contact the town staff would be by accessing the website and then going to the contact us piece. So I don't know if that was discussed in my absence or if that is something that we can add, but it would be really lovely to have that capability on the app.
Yes, so we did briefly discuss some of the functions of the app last week at the work session, one of them being that we can pay for additional applets within it to allow for back and forth notifications or correspondence from a user to us as the town. So what we wanted to do is get it up and running, see where we want to allow people to reach out, whether it be about zoning permits or general contact us, who would be funneling those, how we get those alerts, and then we would go from there on getting the pricing to allow for that additional option.
Okay, perfect. And then I also, unfortunately, Councilmember Gallagher is not here, but Vice Mayor and the Town Manager, I know that you guys have been working on the communications plan, and I did want to provide some feedback that I hope we can possibly integrate into the communications plan. I would like to see if you guys could come up with some sort of guideline for required advance notice of changes, much like our trash service. If there was a required amount of time prior to the implementation of new services, that would be nice. Ideally, the more advanced notice, the better, so that we can communicate it. And also, if you guys could consider specifying the different modes of communication, mailers, emails, and social media posts. That would be lovely. Wrong direction. I also wanted to take this moment to speak on the Small Towns Conference that I got to participate with Emily in. It was really rewarding. It was nice to get to network and meet other small towns. The discussions were very focused on small towns, much like us, populations of under 20,000, correct? Ish. Correct me if I'm wrong, Emily, but most of the towns present were from the southwestern area. We did have Purcellville there, though, and is that it?
Plains.
The Plains, yes.
There's another Northern Virginia town.
Yeah, it was really nice to get to meet them, and I hope to utilize two of the speakers there for possible, what would we call those? My brain stopped working.
Strategic planning and organizational meeting in the new year with the new council.
Right, yep, have the new council, hear from them, just the different things specific to small towns. It was really rewarding. So I want to thank council for ensuring that I have the ability to go, and yep. And then I had a question for Emily, two questions. Well, actually, we'll go down to one. Can you update us on the Verizon and loose cables throughout town? Because I know that there was a cable down between Aldi and Foster's on Leeberry Way, and it took quite a while to get that remedied. It's down in other under maintenance.
Yes, so for the last several months, Matt has been reaching out to the utility companies, Verizon, Comcast, and any others that have lines that run through town. And we have been trying to clean up the lines that they've left after they came in and did work. Generally speaking, they would leave large bunches of cables at the base of these poles or hanging on the poles. We also had some low lines throughout the town, so Comcast, Xfinity came through, fixed everything several months back. Verizon came through and did not deem some of our issues, the low lines, to be priority. After a tractor trailer turned in and out of the parking lot and pulled that line down, they came out and they fixed it once. When the line came down, it did damage one of our light poles. That first fix was pretty immediate. About a week later, another truck came in and pulled it down again, even though we informed the crew that it was still pretty slack in how it was hanging. The second time, it did take longer to get them to come out here and prioritize putting it back up. But with the help of Officer Coppage and Officer Galbraith, we had good contacts, and Matt worked with them to get everything up, as well as the necessary insurance claims put in for the damage that was done to our property.
Good. Tracy Lynn?
Couple questions. May I ask how we know constituents in regards to the cable and that work that was being done?
Chief took care of posting everything while it happened over the weekend. He was posting it on the Facebook page, notifying them of the road closure. And then now that we have our app up, future notifications would also go through our app. And then we have that email option on the app as well.
Okay. And then a secondary question in regards to the app. Are we going to explore further what the cost might be for adding those additional functions as we decide what is needed for the community?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
Joe?
Okay, so Emily, Town Manager Emily, would you like to share some news
I
today?
would, yes. It's been a good day. Not only is our AC out and it was cold, but we got great news from VDOT today. Our sidewalk has been approved. All of our site plan stuff is done. We got our turn lane waiver request. It was approved, as well as the crosswalk was approved. So that's very exciting news. I'm working with our engineer tomorrow morning to pull together the notice to proceed and send that over to our contractors so we can start signing the actual contract. Staff will be working on getting the deed and plat recorded down at the county, and then we will be right into construction as soon as our contractor is ready and everything has been signed. Roberto will be speaking, probably he can speak to it now, but we'll be needing to do an amendment for the budget to move the appropriate monies in order to fund it. So that was our big exciting news today. I also want to share, though, page 12 on the very bottom of my first page of the admin report, you'll see we've been tracking the stormwater assessment program with the county. So I wanted to give you guys an update. We had been told that back in March they submitted everything for the grant to go in. Unfortunately, at the beginning of the month, one of the individuals who reviews the grant reached out to the county and let them know they couldn't find any of the documents. So on June 3rd, everything was resubmitted to EPA, and David Maxwell, who we're working with at the county, has kept me informed of that. He said just as soon as he hears back on the application, any status update on the application, he will reach out and let us know. But unfortunately, it looks like some documents were lost or misplaced, so that has set us back. I believe those were the two biggest updates I had.
Still have a couple more things.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have a couple more things I just want to put on the radar. And it's in the treasurer's report, too, about the proffers being completed at CVC, right? Crossroads Village. So I think that's something we want to get back up on the radar relative to the education funding for the schools and the fire safety. So, she has an answer.
Yes. I reached out to Assistant Chief Smolsky on Friday to restart a conversation. Originally last year, we had talked with Chief Seibert as well as Assistant Chief Smolsky and wanting to do a comfort station here at Town Hall. Based on what we were juggling at a staff level, we weren't able to facilitate that project happening last year. So I want to give you an update on what our proffer amount is, how much we have collected in full, as well as the fire funds that the state gives the town, so that we can work together to come up with what the best option is. That might still be the comfort station here at Town Hall, or it might be another priority. Since it's been about a year since we spoke with them, I figured it's time to reconnect and make sure our priorities are still the same.
Well, that's a good start. What about the education funds?
The education funds, we will reach out to the appropriate school board members to start those conversations this month.
Excellent. You want to talk about that one? 'Cause
Education funds?
Yeah. The
Oh,
proffers.
I just wanted a definition on comfort station. If I could, please.
Comfort station.
So when Chief and I spoke with the fire department, what we were envisioning was all across the county, they have different comfort stations for if there's a mass power outage or a natural disaster. So what we were looking at was installing a generator in the back here that would run off of natural gas and be connected into the system, so that we could open this room area right here to be a general comfort station for our community should we have a natural disaster or something else that would require people to need air conditioning or electric, plugging in, water, etc. So that was our goal, was to provide that for this end of the county and our community.
Perfect, thank you.
Good. All right, if we go to page 19, relative to board committee updates, did we get a read or an opinion from our
Yes, we
attorneys?
did. Our attorneys have stated that one and only one member of the Planning Commission can also be a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals for the town.
So then that won't be problematic.
That is correct. It will not be an issue for that one member.
Okay. And I noticed there's an SUP that'll be coming to us. Any idea what that SUP is about?
Yes, the SUP, I believe you're referencing, and I can also get our town planner to speak on it, but that is going to be for a drive-through expansion at our local Chick-fil-A.
Ah, okay. Well, they have 2 lanes now, but they're looking probably to extend it.
So, a general discussion of the visual. If you're in the Chick-fil-A drive-through and you're in the outer lane, right where the corner approximately of the dentist office building is, the brand new one that just went up, they want to butt that lane out and drive it down the side where the landscaping is, and then at the other end, it would merge back in before the exit point of going right or left. So it would remove all of the vegetation that exists today between Chick-fil-A's drive-through and the adjoining lots, and then it would also impact the travel lanes in the bank parking lot. And then closest to the dentist office, there's a stormwater inlet that it would also impact. However, should it be approved, they're making a modification that it takes care of it underground.
Okay, so that'll go to the PC and then it'll come to us?
That is correct, yes. So staff will have more information to include our recommendations, and that'll be presented to the PC later on this month.
Okay, anybody have any
So,
questions?
yeah, so I'm assuming they're not going to disturb the wet-dry retention pond that they got there?
No, they will not. This is all essentially within where the drive-through lane is, and then taking out the landscaping, and then a travel lane of the bank building.
Yeah, because that landscaping is pretty much right, covering kind of hiding that retention pond.
Right, it won't affect any of the back area at all.
Yeah.
Mayor, it's one quick, will it reduce parking overall on the site? Do we know yet?
At this time, it significantly reduces landscaping, and it, in our opinion, impacts the travel lanes and the parking of the bank, but it does not seem to impact the parking at Chick-fil-A.
Thanks.
Keep going?
Keep going.
Keep going. I noticed with the light poles, he's going to be putting up the summer banners soon. We do have a program or schedule for that?
Yes, so the summer banners will be going up tomorrow and Wednesday. We are taking down the veterans banners. Hopefully, we'll be talking about that here shortly as well. But yes, summer banners will be going up tomorrow and Wednesday.
So if somebody were to ask or listen in and want to get a booth at Haymarket Day, and they're all taken, what would you advise them to do?
So at this time, if there's any category in which somebody's interested in applying for, but it's full, such as the nonprofit, still reach out to Julia, our event coordinator, let her know you're interested in being waitlisted. What we would like to do is gather a wait list. We then reevaluate our numbers in mid-August, and we see where we're at. Generally speaking, in most years, we're able to open about 10 more spaces for our nonprofits to join us, and we start by contacting those on the wait list first. So we do keep those emails and phone numbers, and we do give those people calls first.
Yeah, just for council's edification, I was contacted by a party that is looking for a nonprofit booth, and they're all taken, so this is an option. At least they can be waitlisted, and possibly somebody will drop out, or maybe use somebody else's category as well, and be able to put a booth up. So, thank you, Emily, that was very prompt and appreciate it.
Do you have the contact for that party? Because I addressed Julia with the text that I got, and I didn't have any contact information, and she says she didn't get any contact information either.
All right, I'll let her know.
Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I was just gonna follow up on Haymarket Day, any applications? Is there a way that we can notify when a category is full?
Yes, we will do posts on social media. The only one at this time, though, that we limit is the nonprofit category, and that one is full.
Okay, thank you.
And a post should have gone out today regarding that being full.
You good?
Thank you.
Marshall?
I just had a question about trash service. Well done on we got the word out. I think Republic came through, is it Republic or American Man now? American came through about 3 times a day to scour all the trash cans that have been picked up. Any update on that? And also, too, I had gotten a question about the smaller size trash cans and if there was an opportunity to request a larger trash can. I'm sorry to get a chance to ask you earlier, and if we don't have an answer now, that's fine.
There is an option to request a larger. Let me discuss with American what that fee would look like for the residents. I do know that we had some questions in certain neighborhoods regarding the size of the recycling bin. They were used to something smaller, and they actually wanted to see if they could exchange back to the smaller bin just based on their availability to store it at their home. So I'll also be asking that question this week. Otherwise, we've received good feedback from the community, and it seems like pickup went pretty well today. So hopefully, yes.
So the previous cans, I think, were 64 gallon, and then the trash cans we have now are significantly
These are
smaller.
64
Or
gallons.
it was the opposite. It was
So you might have previously had a 96 gallon.
Maybe that's what it was.
And then you should have received a 64 gallon trash and a 64 gallon recycling
Yes, that's
bin.
what we got. Okay.
And then the only other changes, recycling's being picked up on Mondays, not Thursdays, it's Mondays.
Okay.
And your yard waste is Mondays.
Excelente.
Thank you for your help with launching that. appreciate everyone posting to their respective HOAs.
One other comment, if I could, on that topic, just in case any residents, neighbors, citizens, if they still have their Republic cans, leave those out. Republic's coming throughout the week to pick them up. It takes them some time. So they weren't forgotten today, they just didn't have the capacity to get them all today. So they will be back out.
Alexander?
Emily, regarding park building, what's the latest and greatest?
So we met on Friday with an interested individual on the demolition, so we are hopeful that's out there. I'm hopeful additional contractors will reach out. I've encouraged that we will meet on site, we'll walk through, inside, outside, and go through it prior to them submitting. On August 12th, we have a bid meeting for anybody who's interested to come in, ask questions. We'll send out an addendum. And then, I'm sorry, August 12th it's due. It's July, I'll have to look at the date. Towards the end of July, I have a meeting for anybody who's interested to come in and have a discussion with us and answer any questions. And then August 12th, the bids are all due, at which point Roberto and I will review them and make a recommendation to council to proceed forward.
How about architectural design RFP?
That one, I don't have an update yet on that. I will be reaching out this month to some of the architects we know to get some general pricing and ideas on what that would look like to help kind of guide our RFP drafting.
The only other thing I have is regarding the strategic planning, the priorities that we had established in terms of the town park, public parking and town center exterior. I think during that discussion, when he talked about when it comes to the public parking, right, we want to make a move now as opposed to waiting, right, based on the availability of properties and so forth. So I just want to make sure that we're going to act up upon that, right?
Right.
I just don't know what the next step is.
So our next big step is we're having the financial advisors come in at the end of the month for our work session to give us a snapshot and idea of what we can do financially. And then from that point, I would like for us to make our next steps on what we're going to do going forward based on the feedback we receive.
I think there was a mention of possibly there are some properties that are available or could be available for that use, right? Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Anything else for anybody else before I hit up? Tracy Lynn?
May I just clarify that the meeting at the end of July in regards to the park building, that's open to public discussion?
Yes.
And that will be posted?
Yes, it'll be here. It'll be for anybody to come and listen, but specifically it's for interested parties for submitting an RFP for the demolition.
Perfect. Thank you for that clarification.
Okay. Now my bullet points that weren't taken already. The Civic Plus, right now we got two links. One goes to the agenda and one goes to the meeting. Is that going to be the typical routine, or is we still in transition?
We're still in transition. Today was supposed to be transition day, and there's been some hiccups from both the company that was supposed to come over and switch our streaming, our encoder to our YouTube channel, so it would go directly to the Civic Plus website, and also Civic Plus, their website team, finishing out their end to get the website active on the Civic Plus end. So once that becomes active, then this website that we have, the old website powered by Granicus, will be obsolete and won't be there anymore. It's kind of a good thing that it happened the way it is, because we're able to live stream a meeting tonight because we're still running under Granicus right now, not Civic Plus.
Yep. And I just want to kind of make that public. Please grin and bear the transition as we go through it. I do recommend that when we do finally get to a final point, to have some easy accessible fact sheet or something to show this is where all the PDF files will be handled from now on, and
Everything will be on the website, just like it is now with Granicus. It will just be just powered by Civic Plus instead of Granicus. So just
so
whichever
it'll
will
be
be
the
just the
same
same.
format where you have
Yes,
the
sir.
agenda
Yes, sir.
link. Yep, because people always have a frustrated period having to learn new things. So, okay, it was good to hear about the sidewalk. I guess we're moving forward. RFP is kind of already taken care of, right? We've already chosen somebody, or do we got to do any type of rebidding?
That's correct. We've already chosen somebody. We've already had 2 initial meetings with them. They're well aware of what our holdup was, so I think they'll be very happy to hear tomorrow when I give them a call that we can start moving forward with the contract, so that is all well underway. They need to expect something in July.
Okay, who's managing this project? Are we farming that out to a consultant, or are we doing it?
Katie McDaniel will be the main project manager on it, and then she'll report back to me on these
Okay,
items.
so will we get a schedule so we can chart
Absolutely.
milestones and everything?
Yes.
Because this has been dragging out, and I've had no clue what our schedule is, and I felt like I've been a bumbling idiot on this the whole way through it. So I'd like to see a schedule if we could.
Absolutely, yes, that's part of it. We will have a schedule. We did not have one to date because we were at the mercy of our outside agencies providing approvals.
You wanted to,
Relative to that,
Okay.
my biggest concern is the duration and how it might affect Haymarket Day. So that would be something we would want to be very cautious about going forward, yeah.
Yes, as soon as we reach out to them and we get the contract signed, they have everything ready. They're going to plug it into Wing. They're able to get it on their schedule work-wise. They're required to submit us a full schedule detailed when everything's going to take place, right down to them coming out to flag it, to pouring concrete. So it'll be very detailed in what we're expecting.
Are you done? I'm sorry.
no, but do you have a comment on that as well? Okay, yeah, we've mentioned a lot about the small town conference. Usually in my work, when we go to a conference, we usually send out a email to the team with bullet points of what the takeaways were. We've kind of verbally done that, but it would be nice to formally have something that, and since the conference is more focused to you, with these takeaways, what are the action points from this takeaway? I plan on investigating more strategic plan processes as as we've learned here or something, just to give a good solid takeaway in a documented format as opposed to just little verbiage that gets easily lost. I'd prefer to see something like that get done if possible.
Would you prefer me to share my notes that I've taken, like send an email with all my notes, or would you like me to put notes?
Anything's
Notes?
good. Usually with me, it's kind of like a summarization. Here's a bullet, we covered this, that, and the other thing. These were great. And oh, by the way, strategic plan was something I feel we need to target. So I plan on, or I feel, architectural review board should be looking into this, so I want to farm this off to them.
Okay, I'm happy to do that.
Just to show there was some type of action that's going to come from our takeaways, right?
Sure. Thanks.
That's all I have on that. And what's happening with our land planning mile responses with Prince William County? We got a lot of stuff that's starting to come up off of Heathcote, and are we starting to see any of that? Have we started to participate with Prince William County on this?
Yes, so we just started receiving a lot of the items that are coming in for review on Old Carolina, closest to Route 29, and then about midway down on Old Carolina. A lot of the stuff over here that's all by right use, that we won't receive anything regarding 1 mile review. So I'll have Thomas look back in on Heathcote, anything that is not considered a by right use, to make sure we're being included as well.
Okay, because I'm assuming we're included on site plans as well?
No, sir, we're only included on rezoning applications and special use permits, and then anything having to do with a comprehensive plan amendment or other large zoning matter. So if it's anything having to do with a by right use and its general site plan, we do not have 1 mile review status.
Interesting, because I thought that hotel off of Antioch, we got to participate in, egress and ingress to that place.
We did, and that one off of Antioch was a special use permit.
Was that special use?
It was.
Okay, yeah, because I've been getting feedback from our Prince William reps saying that we've been slacking on our responses. I don't know if they're giving us dates to respond by or anything. Maybe we can shore that up a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have for management. Anybody else before we close that out and move on to the next report? Okay, we'll go to the treasury report.
Mr. Mayor, hey, Roberto, so this is what happens when we have a light agenda, we start asking 20 questions, so I apologize for that. So, Roberto, on the benchmark report, is that the presentation that we're having? Or is it a different?
Yes, so the
That'll be-
benchmark report will be on the 28th or
The
the
20th,
29th.
okay, cool.
Yep.
Thanks. 29th. Should be here for, it's a Monday. That's at our work session?
Correct.
Okay. So I wanted to consolidate all three that I had comments on. I noticed, that I appreciate the update on the proffers, on the liaison report. I noted the revenues that were exceeding operating costs significantly, and then relating back to the strategic plan discussion. And Alexander, you talked about this earlier, wanted to ask the council and staff if we can start penciling some dates in September, that we can go ahead and start, after the benchmark presentation, we can actually start putting a plan together. I know that the staff a couple of times has outlaid the various options. I think around the time that we did the surplus refund, we had a couple different options and funding options on how to continue to use the ARPA, continue to use profit dollars, continue to use revenues, our lending options. And if we can actually start putting these three priorities to paper and start coming up with a primitive schedule, and then give the staff the direction that they need. So any objections to that, or asking the staff maybe as part of the presentation at the end of the month, if there's some tentative dates you guys could propose or ideas that you have on how to start maybe meeting on that, either part of a work session in September or a separate planning session. Any thoughts?
In my opinion, I think that once we have a better grasp and understanding from the finance or from the bench, we should definitely start discussing potential dates. Obviously, work sessions work best, but if we want to move on the project, we have to have additional meetings. That is totally up to council as well. We can always do that as well. I did talk to Stephen and the reps where we were I attended Treasurers Conference this past week. And obviously, they were looking at our CIP plan too, because that also drives what they would, how they would recommend for those projects to go through. Stephen is aware that we've had this town center for a while, and that was one of the things he wanted to know where we're at with that status on this project. But obviously, he'll speak on it on the 29th, and you guys will, be able to have any questions and stuff.
Thought of this as I was speaking. Emily, the town center site plan, it's done. It's just needs to be put out to bid. Okay. That's all I had, Mr. Mayor. Thanks. And that's all my questions I had on the liaison report as well. So.
Okay.
I do have a question, Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Here, you got the floor.
Okay, thank you. So this is a question for staff. As you're going through and looking at some of those dates and thinking about it for our work session, I'm curious, when Steve Mulroy comes and he makes this presentation about how much we can borrow, essentially, right? That's what he's going to be presenting comfortably, and how we would pay for it as well. What is the thinking of staff on what to use that funding for exactly? Have you thought it through? Or is that something that we will probably have to discuss strategically at that work session?
I think generally speaking, based on our strategic planning and what we had talked about earlier in this calendar year, staff has some general ideas that we could talk to them about regarding, the town center plan here, the interest in a public parking lot, and then making sure that our park space is being done the way we want it. So those are going to be our top three as we go through it, and hopefully some examples that we can put kind of real-world examples to. But it's ultimately going to come back to the town council on what your funding options are and what the current priority is, and moving forward with the best financial decision.
Okay. Thinking about it a little bit, that when Steve comes, he's going to be talking basically how much we can borrow. Maybe part of that discussion, and I don't know if Steve can do that or somebody else can do it, maybe talk a little bit about the balance sheet and how much funding, all those different pots of money that we have available, and other sources of funding that we could pull off of if necessary, other than just the total debt, whatever that number is going to be. So I think it would be helpful for all of us on the council level to understand how much money, like the unrestricted net assets that we talk about in the CAFR all the time, how much money is really out there and available for spending to promote these projects that we want to promote.
Yes, it's definitely a good question, and I believe Michael Lupton had done that in the past, about 2 years ago. And talking to Mary while working on some documents. Right now, the town does have unrestricted 2.5 million, and I think Michael did state around a similar number prior year. I don't know how much they will tell you, as they could tell you how much you have, but as far as how to pull it, that's definitely a council decision. But I think Michael may be the better person to answer those questions when it comes to the balance, since he'll be working on the CAFR. So.
Yeah, that might be something, if he does a presentation on the audit, right? Maybe he can speak a little bit about the balance sheet so that we all understand exactly, how much money we have available. And it could be kind of like an amalgam, kind of cobble together a funding plan going forward. And that would be very helpful.
Yep.
Okay. That's just my thought on that.
Okay, moving forward.
The only, Councilman Passman, I think follow up to that as well, and then just, I think we're getting ready to retire a significant amount of debt as well, going into the fall. I guess that would be all part of the discussion as well.
Correct. That would be part of those discussions, and mainly on the benchmark report. Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
But I don't want to just focus on the debt, the potential for debt. We have to look at all revenue sources, and that's the point I'm trying to make here.
Understood.
So that we don't just focus on how much we can borrow, because we probably can borrow a significant amount, given our financial position right now. But we do have other assets that are available, and I think that has to be part of any spending plan. So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay. Now, we have the liaison report. Marshak, you said you're pretty much done with that?
Yeah, my comments covered.
Anybody else on the liaison report before we move on? Okay, then we'll move on to the agenda items. Planning Commission vacancies?
Well, can I just make a motion?
Yes, please do.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Haymarket Town Council adopt consent agenda items B1 and 2 and C1.
Supporting. I am so sorry. Did not mean to do that, but I do have one question. Since I'm in the finance portion of the meeting, and I apologize, I should have asked it before we finished, Councilman Passanello, but due to the nature of finding out today about the current park sidewalk, I would like to know if I can get a directive to hold a public hearing for amendment of the budget on July 29th, to make sure those funds will be placed in there, so we're going to start having to use them. But obviously, I want to to get properly allocated an amendment, as we did not spend it in the last fiscal year. And I do apologize, Councilman Passanello, that's something I did want to ask and it slipped my mind.
No problem. I'm glad you asked it.
But yes, I'm hoping if I can get a directive in order to hold that meeting. And the intent's going to be similar, using the ARPA funds to fully pay for that project.
Any objections, Mr. Mayor?
Any objections? So directed.
Thank you, and I apologize.
Should I make that motion again, or did you get that?
Please do.
You want me to make that? Okay. Mr. Mayor, I move that the Haymarket Town Council approve consent agenda items B1 and 2 and C1.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Gusto there.
Now we get to move on. Moving too quickly there. Planning Commission vacancies.
Okay, so the first one on the list is to reappoint Pankaj Singla to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term starting July 1, ending June 30, 2028. He's a reappointment.
Okay, anybody got a motion for that?
Mr. Mayor, I have a motion. I move that the Haymarket Town Council reappoint Pankaj Singla to the Haymarket Planning Commission for a 4-year term beginning July 1st, 2024 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
Any seconds?
Second.
Okay, second to the Vice Mayor. Okay, any discussions before we close that up? Okay, since this is an appointment, I'd like a roll call vote, please.
Biene,
Aye.
Pasanello,
Aye.
Pater,
Yes.
Larson,
Do I get to
I'm
vote?
sorry, Schneider,
Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes.
You don't get
Okay, this...
And Matt?
Mr. Gallagher, he's not there. The second item is the vacancy that was Rob Hallett. His term expired June 30, and we have one applicant, Justin Baker. So the motion would be to appoint Justin Baker for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2024, and ending June 30, 2028.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion. I move that the Haymarket Town Council appoint Justin Baker to the Haymarket Planning Commission for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2024 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and second, open for discussion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have, just want to ask, has Justin Baker been contacted about holding both positions?
He has not, but I don't see that there will be a problem.
Okay, all right. Which is allowed by code.
Yep.
Okay.
And just to rehash transparency, we did have applications open for a year. Justin's application was presented to us in the previous round, in which we did interview him and discussed appropriateness and everything else associated with that. Any comments on that before we close it up?
If I
Okay.
may, just for some of those folks in the audience, they may wonder what we're talking about. There is a statute in the Virginia Code that allows for one member of the Planning Commission to also be a participant and a board member at the Board of Zoning Appeals. So it's an opportunity to not have to find someone else for that position, so that helps us out.
Okay, no more discussion? Roll call, please.
Biene,
Aye.
Pasanello,
Aye.
Pater,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Ramirez,
Yes.
Gallagher. Thank you.
Okay. That closes up that item. We'll move to Resolution 2024-004.
Yes, good evening, council. In the past few months, I've worked with developers asking a lot of questions about historic resources in town, how they can potentially redevelop them, what the processes are. I noticed as I recommended them comprehensive plan language listing what the historic resources inventory was, that the language of the comprehensive plan did not match the current language of the zoning ordinance, in particular what is defined as a historic resource. So on packet page 59, which is what I presented to the Planning Commission and what we held public hearing for in the May Planning Commission meeting, is that change to in section 153 of the Haymarket Comprehensive Plan, the historic buildings inventory. And what I did in that change was cited the correct town code reference and the right language within the zoning text stating what counts as a historic building, which currently is all buildings within the historic Haymarket overlay, which were built prior to 1950, designated historic resources. Along with the Planning Commission public hearing, I also brought this before the Architectural Review Board for comment. In the short term, they are okay with this amendment to the comprehensive plan. And so all I ask, barring any other comments from the council, all I ask is a directive to hold a public hearing in August for this comprehensive plan amendment.
Okay, are there any objections?
No objections.
As directed.
Thank you.
That's one.
Okay, is that all needed for the resolution? So we don't need the resolution vote on then today, just the directive?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of was scratching my head on that since I know we didn't have a public announcement on it yet. Okay, next agenda item, the ordinance 2024-002.
Yes, similar process. This is the final outstanding Chesapeake Bay Preservation Act requirement that DEQ is enforcing for us. We have fulfilled every other requirement that's been asked of us. Our local programs coordinator asked me to provide a footnote with the section 3 of the zoning ordinance showing plat requirements to make sure that's cross-referenced to the subdivision ordinance. So what I provided within section 3.7 of the zoning ordinance and also section 22 within the subdivision ordinance is that notation saying this plat notation is found in both parts of the zoning ordinance. The footnotes can be found on packet pages 62 through 70 in the yellow highlights. Very small alteration, but after that we're in full compliance with Virginia DEQ. So, barring any town council comments, similar to the comprehensive plan amendment, all I need is a directive to hold a public hearing for the zoning text amendment.
Objection to this amendment.
Any objections? Any objections, Marshawn?
No, sorry, I'm looking at the doors.
Oh, thank you.
No objections.
No objections, as directed then.
Thank you.
I do have a question, Mayor. Since we are having the public hearing for the budget amendment on July 29th, do you want all public hearings on that date, or do you want me to split them up between the July 29th work session and the August regular meeting?
I think the activity will be minimal on all of them, so that I think we can have them all together.
So the July 29th for all three public hearings?
Yes.
And that would avoid...
4 public hearings. There'll be 4 public hearings that night.
What's that?
If we do it all on the 29th, it avoids any special meetings, so it would just be the 29th.
Yep.
Yes.
So you'll have 4 public hearings that night.
Since Steve is visiting us, do you guys want to have a 6 p.m. start date or start time?
Yes.
Yes. As opposed to 2 meetings.
I'm going to do Steve early. Council meeting. Okay, we have We'll be more attentive at 6 o'clock, I would think.
Yeah.
Let's discuss all the
Any
finances early.
any comments on that? I think we're good. And I'll leave it up to you and Roberta to work out timeframes on if Steve needs more than a half hour, then we can continue on at that point. Okay. Where am I at here?
Snow removal policy.
Snow removal.
So we're on
Front
packet
page.
page 72. So I put together just very brief memo. I'll keep this short. We talked about our draft sidewalk snow removal policy last week at our work session with our town attorney. I put in the memo that I proposed a public hearing date of August 5th at 7 p.m. Based on the conversation we just had, we will propose that that date is now July 29th at 7 p.m. along with the other public hearings. We'll do the necessary posting on our different communication outlets regarding the public hearing, I also have a list of the citizens who reach out to me in the wintertime. I will be directly emailing them just because they've reached out in the past as a concerned citizen, and I'll invite them to come as well and give any feedback they may have. We would like a directive to post for this public hearing. Again, the date changed to be July 29th. The draft clean version of the ordinance is on the following page, along with a map that was created. We tried to do our best on the map to show that the sidewalk on Jefferson Street is only on the west side of the road, and that it terminates just after Walter Robinson Lane and just before Jordan Lane. We also put some notations in there as well. And then there on Washington Street, we tried to delineate the sidewalk portions that are on the north and the south side of the street, with the north side terminating at Blight Drive and the other portion extending to Gap Way.
Okay. And that takes into account the future sidewalk at the park.
Yes, that does. We did go ahead and include the future sidewalk at the park. So that would be our complete streetscape on Route 55, and then the portion which we own on Jefferson Street. I also took into account the future portion that would be done by the town hall on our side of Jefferson Street as well.
Mary?
Thank you. I appreciate the map. I think that that is very clear and direct. I would ask that in section A, it not just specify Washington Street sidewalks, because I think that people might get confused with what's town-owned in terms of what's on Jefferson. So if maybe we could specify the multi-purpose pathway, or what, I forget the terminology you use. Would you be comfortable adding that in?
No, because if you look at the map, the portion that goes over the bridge is not technically owned by the town of Haymarket. It's a VDOT bridge, but we're certainly not going to shovel up to it and stop and then pick it back up on the other side. We're going to take care of it in its entirety. So I could call it out as the west side of Jefferson Street, you know, from this point to this point. I feel better leaving it as all other town-owned properties, because that also would encompass additional land that we might purchase that maybe has a sidewalk that's not located on Jefferson or Washington. If that were to be the case, just for example, if the town were to acquire a piece of land off of Hunting Path Road, and then we have to maintain a sidewalk there, we then need to go in and we need to amend our ordinance to reflect that. Whereas if we left it with and all other town-owned properties, this would include what's shown in the map, and then it would include anything that we own. If council wishes it to be stated, you know, as the west side of Jefferson Street, starting at this point and terminating at this point, I can do that, but I'll have to think about how that includes the VDOT bridge.
I appreciate your clarification as to why you left that specific language out. Again, I think the map is adequate as long as we are specific in our contracts with the snow removal companies, that they understand what we own or are taking ownership of.
And we are with our contractor we currently work with, and any future contractor. We go through usually in September timeframe. We notify them of all the properties we're speaking of, the sidewalks that we expect. We have that contract signed usually by October.
That's all I have.
Tracy?
And I was just going to note, and with any additional properties that were to be purchased, there would be a revisit of this policy and clarification for said properties.
Yes. but any future properties to be purchased, how the language is currently written would be included.
Alexander?
Yeah, Emily, I think I know the answer to this, but in terms of the modification or extension of the time periods, how do you or the staff plan on communicating that to residents?
So it would be through our normal modes of communication. I would also rely on Chief and his department, since they're usually here 24/7, even during those snowstorms, that we would put out messaging on all of our platforms. Hopefully the app as well would be very well utilized. And then Chief would be able to also share, and then as they see people out during the storms, for example, they could share the word there. So emails, newsletters, website, social media, app, and then contacting the HOAs.
Yeah, it's been, not to be too nitpicky, but that's not needed in this document, but definitely in contracts. The very western side crosswalk from CVS to the Sheets, we do have that little island piece and then a center island for the separation point. Make sure that they clear that out as well, just nitpicky in the contract. Just focus on that stuff.
It's technically still inside the town.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No, looking at the line, it's hard to tell, but we can add it. It's hard to tell from the map. I'd have to look at a satellite version of it, but it doesn't look like, once you're in the right merge lane or right turn lane from CVS onto the exit ramp, it looks like it's out. But
Interesting.
we'll look at it. We'll investigate.
Yeah. I mean, they're just small areas, but I can just see them being plowed over, and anybody who wants to try and cross 55 definitely wouldn't have an easy ride. Okay. Any other comments? So, I guess no objections then, as directed, modify to the 29th. And we'll have a public hearing.
Okay, thank you. And then,
Next on the list, Veterans Banner Program.
so I wanted to inform council that over the last month or so, the town staff, specifically Alexandra, has received a lot of feedback from the community regarding our Veterans Banner program. We have interested parties who would like to still purchase one. We have parties who have purchased one, but they've been damaged, but we never had we never had it stated that the town would fund the replacement or that they had to fund the replacement. The program's currently closed, so we don't have the options for replacements at this time. So essentially, I want to talk to council, and what I would like to propose is that we hang them up, all the ones that we have in good working order, for Veterans Day this November. And in the meantime, we work on developing the new program, and we start off in 2025 with it fully outlined of this is when the banner will hang, this is the maximum number of light poles we have available for banner purchases, so we cap it. We set a list of criteria for the banners. I will say a big pushback that we received this time is we have individuals who say, I've lived in town my entire life, and you allow people who don't live here to buy banners, and you allow them to buy banners for their loved ones who have never set foot in this town. This isn't, fair. So we would like to set a criteria of who the town would like to have on these banners, but then also, most importantly, a replacement program, and who's responsible for what in the replacement, and then how long this new run of veteran banners will last. One of the issues we had, and all good lessons we've learned, When this program was done, I believe in 2018 or 2019, the Eagle Scout who did the program had all great intentions, but we did not get any contact information for these individuals who purchased banners. We do know a majority of them in the community, and we can find a way to reach them. But there are some individuals who we don't have contact information for, so some of their banners have been damaged, and until they come in, usually pretty upset that it's not there, we don't have a way to reach out and tell them something's happened to their banner. So we'd like to make these modifications to run a better program and put it out early, hopefully put it out early fall, maybe September, so we can have the information at Haymarket Day at our booth. It can be something they can sign up for. We have a cutoff date, or the banners are sold out, and then that's something effective 2025. They're put up for Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and then any other times that the council deem appropriate.
Thanks for revisiting this. Is it a one and done sort of thing, or do we expect annual? So in other words, if we have 20 residents purchase the banner, is it indefinitely that they get hung unless they get damaged and replaced, or is it every year you have to apply to be?
My recommendation would be maybe you do it on a 2-year cycle, because that way ideally it would hang for 4 opportunities for them to come and see it and enjoy it. And then at that point, you guys as council can decide in the program details, do you open it up to the wait list who didn't get in the first time, or do you allow anybody to apply? It's just the first 46. That's how many polls we can put them on. So is it the first 46 and then we're done? That kind of deal.
That's a good idea. Maybe after the 2-year program, do a lottery or something like that.
Right.
I also I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, the only other ad I had, we also need to think about in families, do we allow one individual to sign up their, 5 next of kin who were all in the military, but none of them ever lived here, right? So the person who's hanging up on the banner, what's that criteria look like? So.
But we would still have is it the Hometown Heroes that do the park?
Flags for Heroes.
Flags for Heroes. That's still happening, isn't it?
Yes, that still happens. It's in September. They
so that would-
moved the date this year.
So that would be the fallback, I think, if you wanted to sponsor other family members that were not in town, you still had that fallback. The only question I gotten was, could people, which I don't think we want to do this, but people asked which part of town their banner could be flown. I don't have an issue with that, but I don't think we wanted to, unless you wanted to pay a premium for a donation to a nonprofit, that you pay for your location, so.
I like to think they move around town and they get to
Yes.
see the different areas.
My kids enjoy trying to find mine. So, okay, that's all I had. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Tracy Lynn, you had your hand up?
I was just going to say, in partnership with the Flags for Heroes as well, just an added aspect.
Okay. So I will, is there somebody on council who might like to help be a impromptu kind of voice that everybody all at once?
I feel like everybody
I
would-
think everybody has an opinion. I mean,
Okay, so I'll work with staff. What we'll do then is we'll reach out to the company, we'll get all the information, we'll put our initial thoughts into what we've learned over the years, what we think the criteria should be, and we'll talk about it at the work session.
Yep, and like you were saying, I think there should be a retirement of these flags, whether it be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, but it gets retired, and then they need to go back into the queue of buying a new flag. They're not going to be able to reuse old flags just because of wear and tear issues and everything else that are associated with, the UV light beating down on them and everything else. But all these types of comments can, be tossed around as we try to get this program documented and put together.
And Emily, based on what you shared with us, personally, I would like to open up the program first to the town residents, right? And then after that, open it up to the larger, surrounding areas, what have you. That would be my preference. Give them a time period, right? For
Absolutely.
the town residents to sign up for the program first, and then
Okay.
Yeah, but we may want to restrict it though to the Haymarket zip code or something like that, because we definitely have a good enough base to fill that up.
Hopefully.
I mean, and hopefully we would be hitting the immediate patrons that would be coming and using our businesses and everything else, right? So we wouldn't be pissing anybody off. Excuse my language. Joe?
Emily, just a off-the-cuff question. Do places like the HOAs, they have lights in them, do they have banner poles too? I can't,
I believe most of our HOAs do not. I know that Light Drive, some of those light poles do have banner arms, and then on the Crossroads, Village Boulevard, some of those have banner arms as well. And in talking with Matt, we do have an option to put double banners back up on our poles that have banners, so that could be a thought as well. That would be an opportunity to double the number that we have. Or it would be an opportunity to put a veteran banner up on one side and our holiday or seasonal banner on the other one.
interesting.
Yeah, as the president of our HOA, I'm willing to trade. So we'll allow the flags as long as the town maintains the light poles.
I'm gonna let you keep the light poles for right now.
Yeah, those arms can get expensive too. How much are those arms? Do you know?
The pole all in is 10 grand. I don't know specifically the arms each, but I would say probably 800 each. I mean, they are pricey.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at a solid piece of metal, so.
Yeah, and it's usually a cast piece that they do, and yeah, it's a chunk of change. That is all I have for the warmth in here. We're done on our end.
Okay. So we go into council member time. Oh, wow, I'm first on the list. Well, I didn't prepare too well. We did have a opening of a new business this week, Ace Granite. I'd like to thank them for their hospitality. They were very welcoming with their food, and even gave me a little token gift, which I guess I got to reveal for transparency is available for a display if they want it, since I don't think I'm allowed to really keep any trinket things. I don't know, Emily, what you would like to do with that. Do you remember I got that little handyman type of, yeah. So I'm good, but I always feel even 25 is kind of skeptical in government businesses that I'm dealing with, being a government contractor. But yeah, I appreciate that, and like I said, I appreciate their welcoming and their warmth. Okay, next on the list is, oh, and by the way, I guess Mayor's Walk is going to be coming up on the 13th? 13th. So remember that, Mayor's Walk will be the 13th. Mayor's Talk was this weekend, since we will be closed this coming up weekend. Next on the list, Vice Mayor Pater.
No, thank you. So I'd really like to send out a very special thank you to Officer Coppage and Officer Watson. Suicide prevention is very important. Our mental health as far as a community is important, and their actions to our community speaks very distinctly as to why we live where we live. So thank you very much. I do want to make note that there is the blood drive on the 17th and the women's self-defense class on the 9th of July, and we do have the business roundtable coming up on July 23rd. So thank you. I wish everybody a very happy and safe holiday week.
Okay, Councilmember Biene.
I don't have anything else to add.
Passanello.
Yes. Again, congratulations to Officer Coppage and Officer Watson. I think Chief hit it on the head. and so did the vice mayor, about suicide prevention. But we also know that a lot of these situations can get out of hand very quickly, and it sounds like they did a really good job in handling it and de-escalating, which is a really good term. I appreciate the chief sharing his thoughts on that with us. So again, very happy and looking forward to those 2 new officers there, Chief, hopefully soon. And I just want to thank our members of the audience for participating today. It's very nice to see you all here, and I think you should get extra credit, because if you stayed for the whole meeting, you should get extra credit. Without a doubt.
Till the end, that's right.
Okay, and just so you know, I wish everybody happy 4th of July. Be very careful, be safe out there, and stay hydrated. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Councilmember Schneider.
So have a proud Papa moment. My daughter Naomi finished her Eagle Scout project this weekend at Haymarket Baptist. It is a free food pantry. So with Haymarket Food Pantry leaving town, there's still a food scarcity. Did I say that correctly? In the town, and so she had reached out to the church, or the church had reached out through several different means, and so we put them in touch. And so this weekend she put up the food pantry box. It is already stocked. There will be dedication, but by telling the council members, if you could please let folks know, pass the word that everyone and anyone can certainly partake, take or give as much as you want to, and the church will continue to keep it stocked. So if you could please spread the word, and again, Naomi did great, and I'll invite you guys to the dedication when it happens. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Councilmember Ramirez.
Thank you. Coming at the end of everybody, I feel like I just have to second everything. Certainly, huge thank you to our officers, Coppedge and Watson. They're probably, you know, the police department is probably my favorite part about this town. So they really showcase what community policing is, and I'm eternally grateful for all that they do. And suicide awareness is so important and personal to me. So I just want to thank them publicly for what they do. Please, everyone, have a safe and wonderful 4th of July, and I look forward to seeing everybody at the end of this month. That's it.
And with Councilmember Gallagher out today, we are at the next agenda item.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
I'm really liking cheese look.
All right.
I'm really liking cheese look. Oh, yes.